Good afternoon, girls. We've been howling in here because it's like a sweatbox. But we are here today. Well, actually, let me introduce who's with us first. We've got Grace, who's filming in VIP.
Hi, VIP ladies.
We've got Lindsay, who is Alexis.
It's not easy.
No, that's just too many is's there. Associate. And we've got Nancy here because we've suddenly at last minute decided that if we're going to talk about this body image thing, we might as well get out to as wider audience as possible. And as much as we love all you VIP ladies, we thought let's just open it up there to the whole of Tillet's Facebook group, really. So are we actually live in your...
Yes.
So we're live all over, 3 places today then. So this is amazing. So we've got Alexis here with us. She is, I'm going to call you an expert. Because you are really, and we're going to talk about body image because when we first started on our Tillet's journey, basically, I'll be completely honest, it's all about selling clothes and running a business and that type of thing, but it's turned into much more than that for us of late. We found ourselves, particularly with the VIP group, coming across lots of different ladies from all different walks of life. Lots of things have gone on in their lives, and we've come to realise really that sort of body image and confidence and all those types of things are really quite important subjects.
Yeah.
And I know you've got a lot to say on it because of the mental health week. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I've been part of the VIP group for a couple of weeks now, and it's been fantastic to actually see the support that people are giving each other, and actually that people are they're progressing, aren't they, with how they feel, their confidence, self-esteem, all of that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
And you weren't actually in the VIP group until we decided to do this conversation, were you, Alexis? You came, obviously, do you want to introduce yourself and the ladies?
Yes,
what I'm just going to briefly say, ladies, is all the ladies that are watching across the channels, if you want to get yourself comfy, because we'll be here for the next half an hour, 45 minutes, so if the weather's like it is where you get yourself outside the sunshine, with a
questions,
could be wine, could be gin and tonic, or even anything healthy, a nice glass of water, which would be sensible.
Go with that.
Get yourself comfy for the next little while, because we're going to have some question and answers, we're going to go through all sorts, but we'll throw to Alexis first and she can introduce herself and go through what we've come to chat about really.
So I'm Alexis Powell-Howard, and I'm the Managing Director of Fortis Therapy and Training, and we are a mental health service, therapeutic mental health service. So we work with all ages, so our youngest client at the minute is 5, and we work all the way through. And we often see lots of difficulties that people have of all ages with their body image and how they think people see them and their confidence and everything else. And so it's Mental Health Awareness Week this week. And so what I thought would be a really good idea is to kind of do this Facebook Live and other videos that I'm talking to different people from different ages, just to see what people's perceptions are really about body image, because it does have such a huge impact on how you feel, doesn't it?
I think you just touched on something there that I've not thought about too much, but would you say a lot of it then about somebody's body image, a lot of people are more concerned about what other people think they look like?
Yeah, well I think there's 2 things really. They're concerned about what other people think, they think other people look, how they see them, but also how they see themselves as well isn't accurate. So you might look in the mirror and think, I'm huge, but actually they're not.
Yeah.
So you defeat yourself before you even leave the house, if you can leave the house.
Yes.
And then when you do get somewhere, people can then be worrying about how people are judging them.
Yeah.
And I think judgment is a really big thing, because we don't know that people are judging us, but we assume.
And that's one word I absolutely hate. And
we've been speaking about this today.
We've been talking about this today, because our whole of our organisation, when anybody says to me in the office, and I go, so-and-so is such and such sorted out, I assume so. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Don't assume anything, because assumption is one of the worst things you can do. So I suppose really you shouldn't assume what anybody's thinking about you, because you can't get into anybody's head to see what their thoughts are. You might be surprised it's the other way.
Yes, exactly. We assume it's bad, but actually it might be quite nice, it could be good. And in reality, we can't control it anyway.
No.
So if you could take someone's brain out and have a look and see what they're thinking, it wouldn't help you.
You can't stop them thinking
it, and you can't change it. So actually when you can realise that and let that go a bit, that actually helps you to feel that you don't have to be beholden to what you perceive to be judgments that other people are making, because it's probably not accurate.
Yeah, well I can understand that then. And I think a lot of it as well maybe is other people. We've set rules up for the VIP group, and the ladies in that group will know this.
Yeah, I'm on the VIP. We've got 35 ladies watching so far. We've got Jackie, Lynn, Sandra, Jean, Sharon, Judith. They're all saying hello.
Well, hello ladies, hello. And if there's anything that sparks your interest or anything you want to chip in with, just put it in the comments. The girls are looking through as we're going along, so we can pull anything out. Any questions you want to ask, any advice, because you know there might be something you're particularly not liking about yourself and or thinking about that we might be able to help with while we're doing this today.
Let's have some love across the screen as well, ladies.
Yes,
On all channels.
And the thing we found as well, and again a lot of it does feed through from the VIP group, is the fact that ladies get to a certain age as well, because our demographic are sort of more my age. I think we say 45 plus, really. Menopause, things like that kick in.
Body
that
changes.
can play havoc with your mental health as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we read lots of things about lots of different ladies who've had such a terrible time, particularly with that.
Well, there's according to the statistics, I think it's something like obviously 100% of women go through the menopause. 80% have symptoms, and 25% of the 80% have really severe symptoms.
Do they? Yeah.
So that can be life-changing, can't it? Because
Yeah,
your body is
absolutely,
working against you, and there's lots of changes. There's changes anyway, because your body changes, but how you function can really be affected by it. And often what we find is that women who come to see us, or when I'm delivering training and things, they don't know that it's the menopause that's affecting them. They just think, I can't function properly, I don't feel very good, and I can't, I've lost my confidence, or I used to be able to stand up and talk to people and now I can't. There's lots of symptoms that they think, I don't feel great, but they don't.
So what type of things then, what kind of help can you give somebody like that? What kind of advice can you give to anybody?
Yeah, what advice
if
could be anybody watching now?
Who are feeling a little bit like out of sorts, not really knowing it could be your age. I mean, I'm 52. I don't think I've particularly had the hot sweats or anything yet. I'm not on any sort of HRT or what can you hear today in the sweat box. So either I'm sailing through it or it hasn't happened yet.
But everyone has different symptoms. It's different for everybody. So you might have brain fog.
But it definitely has happened because certain things aren't happening anymore.
But you might have brain fog where suddenly you can't remember what you're saying or what you were thinking.
Well, I do get that.
And you know, you lose your train of thought, or you're walking. Well, I think you can do this at any age. Walk into a room and not remember why you walked in. You know, all that kind of stuff. So, but it can also affect your anxiety levels. So, women can become far more anxious. And a lot of that is about managing how you're thinking, and actually putting in some rational thoughts, you know, because we can almost create a situation that becomes quite scary in our heads,
and it doesn't actually
isn't existing.
And I suppose again that's another body image can attribute to that, because people as you get older. I've been doing the VIP group, particularly, been following it, attempting to do a weight loss thing.
I've seen you doing the weight.
Well, I haven't done one for a couple of weeks because it hasn't gone to pot. But for me, it was about putting it out there to try and stick to it, really, because I don't look in the mirror and think I look dreadful. But there's things I think we all want to improve, but I've never taken it to any extreme, whereas I suppose some people might do that.
Yeah, and I think it affects you at different ages at different times, and it's quite an individual thing, isn't it? Body image, you know, I was talking to someone the other day, and you know, they were saying, well, that doesn't really even cross my mind. Whereas somebody else, you know, can't leave the house until they feel like they're exactly wearing what they should be.
That can be quite limiting, can't it?
And then someone else who was talking to me, a lady I think she's mid-50s, and she said, I just get up and think, I'm disgusting, and I think, how to start your day like that?
That's
awful. You're not disgusting, but how you're thinking, how you're talking to yourself has such an impact.
I've got a couple of things. Jackie here says she finds exercise helps massively with symptoms, walking and tap dancing. I suppose things like that as well, you're getting out, you socialise, especially if you're walking with friends or tap dancing. I'm assuming that'll be in a group or something you're going to, so it's like a regular sociable thing. And then Sam says, hi ladies, I'm 76 and lost my partner 18 months, I'm shooting months of it as maths, I think it might be a time months ago. Up until then I was trendy and confident. Now I've lost my confidence in many ways and feel frumpy. I've put on weight, comfort eating, but started slimming well 2 weeks ago, so I've made a start to becoming me again. Joining Tillet's VIP helps and the clothes are brilliant. So that's from Sandra.
Well, Sandra, first of all, I'm going to say well done for cracking on. Obviously, I don't know, you're more the expert on this, so I'll give that one to you. I would imagine she's probably finding herself again after 18 months.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, you know, when you lose somebody really close to you, you go through a process of grieving, and it's really tough. It's really tough, and you can lose your way, lose your identity, and you know, you've got to try and find out what life's going to be about now, and
it's a different future.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And the comfort eating, I think we can all relate to. You know, and I do that. Dairy milk, you know, is my my nemesis. But we all go towards things that make us feel better. But that feeling better is temporary. It's not a permanent solution. Whereas actually, if you can get in control, whether that's joining Slimming World or it's going to the gym or it's doing something which you put, I always talk about like putting it back into the pot. You know, what can you do to help yourself? That gives you some endorphins. It helps you feel more in control. You're going to feel better, even if it's temporary. At least you feel better for a short period of time.
So I've got some coming in. I've got 3 actually.
You've got lots coming in.
Yeah, I'll read them all to you. The first one is Jana Breen. She's saying it's a daily struggle. Can't look in the mirror as I feel I look like a monster with scars on my face and neck from facial reconstruction surgery for cancer in my jaw. Always thinking that other people will perceive me in the way I see myself. It's very debilitating.
Should we go through? Do you want to go? Should we go through one at a time?
Yeah, go through one at a time.
What's the name? Sorry.
That was Jana Breen. Jan.
Okay, so yeah, absolutely. And that's because it's also facial as well. So you know that's the first thing that people see, isn't it? And I think scarring is really difficult because people have different responses to it, and it does affect how you see your body, doesn't it? It changes your identity, what you think you looked like before and what you look like now. And there isn't any kind of quick fix with that. It's more about really coming to a place of acceptance that that's where you are and that's how you feel. And again, you can perceive that other people see that in a certain way, but actually some people are actually quite intrigued by what might have happened, or they want to know a bit more about your story. Where you might think people just think, oh gosh, you're the monster that she sees, but she won't be a monster.
No. And I think sometimes maybe explaining it to somebody else, if somebody is, or you're just out and about in general public and it comes across, you know, it might, I don't know because I'm not living that, but it might be worth trying to open up and talk to people about it maybe and see what response there is.
Absolutely. And I mean, when we talked with people who have got scarring in different places, and you know, and I've got quite bad scar on one of my legs from a bad car crash I had when I was younger, and it was one of those things growing up where I thought I can't wear anything where my legs are out because people will see it and what will they think and everything else. And actually, when I come to a place of that's just part of my story.
Yes, I was going to say
that
lady's come through an incredibly still here.
And she's talking to a lot of. I know it's only in typing it in there, and we can't actually see you today, but she's actually talking to a lot of people watching this. You know, hopefully might look on it differently.
You've got to look at what you've come through, and at the end result is a good result. You're still here. You're still going about. So and putting that into the group now is a brilliant.
It is, and the support you get from that as well, because people will empathise with that, with how you're feeling.
I've also got Karen. She says, I suffer from depression, anxiety, and panic attacks to the point I don't leave the house. For that reason, I've got in a rut and I've put on 2.5 stone. I was a size 8 and now I'm a 14/16. Mine all started as I was going through the menopause. I went to the GP saying I'm not the same person, and he put me straight on antidepressants.
Yes.
Is that a common story?
It is.
And not the right one, really, the right answer?
Well, they will, you know, if there's any GPs in them, please correct me, but my take on that would be that actually sometimes women go with those symptoms and they're put on antidepressants because they are symptoms of depression. Right. However, actually, if your hormone levels are all over the place, that is going to affect your mood, it's going to affect your confidence, all the things it does when it affects you with, you know, premenstrual syndrome and tension and all those things. It's the same type of thing where you're losing certain amounts of hormones, so it affects you. And so actually going on some kind of hormone replacement is probably going to be more effective because actually that's evening out those hormones. And there's some really good stuff now about, you know, using gels so it doesn't have to be ingested, and there's lots of things that you can access, and also having some therapy. And that's not to plug what we do, but in reality that can really help, because if you can have some therapy and again come to terms with where you are and feel better, you know, your depression lifts, how your thinking changes, how you feel changes, then that shifts you through it as well. There's nothing worse in anything, whether it's menopause or depression or trauma or anxiety, getting stuck in it. Because once you're stuck, it feels really difficult to climb out.
So I think then it's about trying to reach out and see somebody,
have a
conversation
about it.
I mean, from size 8 up to size 14/16. I mean, I'm a 14/16. I've always hovered for years around about this. Although I have put weight on lately, and for health reasons, I think I need to get a bit off. But from being size 8, if I suddenly went from 14/16 to 2022, maybe I might be a little bit like that.
Body image as well.
And again, it is body image, because you're used to looking in the mirror at the size 8, and all of a sudden, you know, when I look in the mirror straight on. Most of us look in the mirror straight on, don't we? The time I look at my body image and think, oh my God, do I really look like that? As if I see a video of myself from the back when we was away in Spain the other week, dancing in a, you know, and having fun from the back. I thought, oh my God, is that really me? You know, and but you look at yourself straight on sometimes and think, well, that's not too bad. It's not until sometimes, but it can play on your mind a little bit.
It can play on your mind. It's really hard if you don't feel good about yourself. And I think it works the other way as well. You know, where people can be bigger and lose a lot of weight because they think if I'm slimmer and I'm small, I'm going to be happier.
Right.
Actually, don't feel happier. No. So it can work both ways. Yeah. It's just actually, for me, the way I think about this is that I'm a size 14. I'm 6 foot tall. If I was a size 8, I'd look a bit. You know. Yeah. Too slim.
You would.
So, and I know I can
supermodel.
I'm a bit old for that now. Yeah. But if I can maintain something that feels okay and I fluctuate, then and that does fluctuate. It fluctuates with all sorts of things, doesn't it? That affects us and how much I'm eating and exercising. So if I can find something that I can maintain fairly easily and fluctuate either way, then that's okay. But it is definitely about what you see in the mirror, and actually, if you look in the mirror and you're not feeling great and you're not doing things to help yourself to feel great, all you're doing is compounding that this is where I'm at. Whereas I know for me that if I go to the gym, if I see friends, if I try and eat as well as I can, if I drink plenty of water, I'm not saying, I like a gin and tonic and I like to go out and have nice meals and those kinds of things. But I know if I don't do those things, it's like colouring my hair and those things. If I don't do them on a regular basis, it affects my confidence, and I know that. So I put them in place, and that helps me. And sometimes it's quick wins. It doesn't have to be really complicated. You can almost look at that and think, I've got all this weight to lose. But actually, if you look at yourself and think, right, what have I got that's positive about me, and what are the small steps I'm going to make to help me to feel better, you start to feel better.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the case.
Yeah, I've got quite a lot actually all over the place. I'll do this next one, then we'll go to one of you guys. Michelle is saying that she says, I suffer with depression, anxiety from the menopause. Well, she said with the menopause, so I'm presuming as a result of that. She says, I don't even leave my home anymore, and she doesn't even look in the mirror as she doesn't like what's looking back, and she's also now disabled.
Oh dear, I wish I could reach in there.
I know you do.
Absolutely. Come drag you out and come on to the live or something.
Don't suggest it would be in the Facebook Live before you know it.
I'm good at that. Well, you know what you here. Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know where to start to sort of advise on that, really.
I think it's about getting the right support around you. Who can help. There are agencies and there are people who can help, although sometimes it's difficult to access, but it is possible. And also, I think sometimes just finding something that you, like I said a second ago, that you do like. Do you do your nails nicely?
Maybe just
do
try
you do
one small thing at a time or something. Pick one simple thing to do and just see if it makes any difference. I mean, I don't know. I'm only speaking from experience with some of the ladies in the group and the clothing side of things. Like I say, we set this business up predominantly to, sell clothes to women. We've hit a bit of a niche in the market with the age group type thing. But the result from that is that there aren't the places on the high street to go anymore. There's not a lot of customer service about within stores anymore. A lot of the big players are going or gone, so there's a bit of apathy around it. And what we're trying to do, we're doing little things like this, and even the one size clothing thing by not labelling people a particular size. If you have fluctuated a bit, you're not saying, oh God, I've gone up to a 16 or an 18 or, that it's just still that one size, and it still look good on you, whether you're this big or that big. And the experience that a lot of the ladies are telling us is that by buying something maybe with a sequin star on the front or whatever, has made a difference in the confidence. We get it all the time, don't we?
But ladies have really had to muster the courage up to buy something like that. They've under and they've watched the lives for a long while, they've been on the VIP page and looked, and it's taken such a lot, but that's fine.
Some people have been following us for a year or more before they've actually plucked on the courage
come out of the comfort zone with something different, but that is totally fine. The end result will be the same thing, but some ladies will take longer, some will take shorter.
But you see, that's a bit like us, if we're working with somebody therapeutically, some people will feel better faster than others. And you have to do it at your own pace. Being part of the group, seeing what's out there, a lot of what you do is really colourful as well, which most women, historically we kind of go for the safe colours, but actually it's colourful and you're seen, you're visible, which if you're feeling a bit
you might not feel like putting yourself out there.
But actually putting something on bright and actually walking into a room and thinking, right, okay, well let's see what happens is
I think also looking at this is there's two ladies that Nancy's read out, and both very similar issues. just to know that there are other people out there suffering the
you're
same
not on
thing.
your
I suppose
own,
you're not actually on your own.
Yeah, really not on our own.
No.
I was just talking to the guy from Links FM earlier, and we were talking about that actually people are able now, there's still a long way to go, but people are able to say, this is the situation I'm in and I'm really struggling, and other just knowing there's other people out there, and that peer support is massively powerful.
And even that, you know how those loads might end up hooking up and messaging each other
They might do,
about social media.
Yeah.
This, especially in the age of social media, has made it so much more accessible for people to gain support and to confide in each other on those kind of ways.
Well, let's throw it out there then. While we're watching, if there's any ladies out there that have felt that have had that, and they've come out the other side,
Any tips?
is there any tips? Can they pop a comment
I
in?
have actually got a nice comment, giving a tip here. This is from Emma Starkey, and she's saying affirmations are good to put on post-it notes around your home. The more you read it and say it, goes in the brain and changes the thought process.
Affirmations are brilliant.
Yeah.
I am a massive one, and I'm doing all my pregnancy affirmations as it stands at the moment, and I can read them all. And every single night before bed, I have them dotted around in my bathroom, and I have a 12-minute video, a tape, an MP4 that I play every single night of affirmations. And I'm aware that it's going to not be great, but my affirmations that really, really do, they are great.
Would you like to explain what that is?
Yeah,
then?
so
Yeah. Really nice.
Grace is really all over it.
Oh, I am.
So affirmations are basically, if you think about your self-talk, what do you say to yourself? If your self-talk is really negative, then you start to believe that. I always use a sieve to explain this. So it's a really high value prop, but it's like a kitchen sieve. And so basically in the sieve is everything we say to ourselves and everything that's said to us from other people, okay? Now, if you think of that as a filter, we tend to hold on to the negative stuff.
We do.
And what happens to the positive stuff is that slips away. So you might have had an okay day, someone said something negative, and you hold on to that, but you miss the 3 or 4 things that someone said to you that's positive, which is what's so great about your group, because it's very positive and honest and people can trust it. So if in our heads, if you imagine that filter's in your head, if you're giving yourself affirmations and you're changing your self-talk into something that's more positive, then obviously that's going to have an impact on how you feel.
Yeah.
If you tell yourself things are going to go badly and they're going to go wrong and I can't do this and I shouldn't do it.
That word, isn't it?
Can't and shouldn't and should. You know, those words are really powerful. So if we say those things and we hold on to them, and then if someone criticises us, that confirms that we were right. When, you know, and I've had things where, you know, throughout the day, 2 or 3 negative things, if you like, critical things have happened, but I've also had 3 or 4 positive things, gone home thinking about what's negative. And I actually think to myself, right, hang on, can't change those things, I'm not in control of it. What I can do is focus on the positives.
On the good ones.
Yeah, because that's actually, we're too quick to delete them.
I think it's part of human nature though, don't you? I mean, we often have this in the office because we get so many compliments about the product we sell, the way we do things, what we do. We get letters each week, we get cards from people thanking us for things, and yet we only have to get one particularly bad customer complaint or something that's not, we think, well actually that's not, and everybody's like, oh I can't believe this, that, you know, with it, hang on a minute, how many thousands of really good comments do we get? And then you get one bad one.
Put it in perspective.
And you have to go, well everybody focuses on that, and it really is difficult to pull yourself away from it and actually go back. Is it because we get so used to the good ones so the bad ones hurt a bit more? I don't really know.
I think it's because you care about what you're doing. And we're the same, you know, you care about what you're doing, so therefore it can be feel personal, but it isn't. And sometimes, you know, in general terms, if someone says something negative, it can be about where they're at, how they're feeling as well, and you can catch that and think, well, that must be something I need to do something about, but it might not be yours to do anything about.
Yeah, quite.
So, you know, it's just kind of thinking about what, you know, being rational about it.
Yeah.
And if you have made a mistake or you've got something wrong, you learn from it and you do it differently next time.
But there's lots of little videos on YouTube and places like that that are just affirmations for confidence, for different. It's just short little statements that you might not believe in straight away. And if you can just you don't have to believe in them straight away, but if you can just keep repetitively listening over, so they say put them in places like when you go to the toilet on the back of the door, when you stood brushing your teeth, pop them on your mirror, if you're downstairs cooking, pop them by your cooker. It's just things that you regularly see all the time, so it could be, I don't know.
Am I correct in saying that you can put them on your steering wheel in your car? You know when you get in your car?
I'm not sure I totally advise
that.
I
don't know where I've got that one
I'm not being responsible for
No, you'll be in the middle of it for when you first get in.
But because what you want them to be just things that you just see subliminally. You see them doing things. Yeah. And you're exactly right. You don't necessarily believe them, and you might think I'm never going to believe that. but actually over a period of time it starts to just become part of what you think.
Yeah. Well,
train yourself.
You do train yourself.
So what type of things then would you put?
One of the ones that this is a pregnancy one.
And I'll tell you what Grace is doing.
So this is one of mine was I love and respect my pregnant body, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, no, I don't. I'm not sure the respect bit. I don't really love it. My bum's got massive. My love handles have got big. My face is going. I'm really not keen. So this was back. I started these at 20 weeks, and I'm 32 tomorrow. So I just listened to it, and every single night before bed, the 12-minute MP4 every single night.
Yeah.
And I listened to it. Didn't necessarily believe it. And you know what? I stood in front of the mirror the other day, just in my knickers and bra. I thought, you know what? I absolutely love my body the way it is now. And I said it in my head, and I thought, I genuinely cannot believe I even said that. But I've constantly listened. There's like several different ones about like birth partners. My birth partner's on my side and by my side. So
what have you said about me then?
Well, that's you. Birth partner. So it's things that so when you're in there, your birth partner's on your side, so helping you with the medical team, and by my side for support.
Yeah.
So just lots of different things like that. But obviously it's a different. But it's
but it's the same
unbelievable
thing.
how they're in your head all the time. And I never thought I'd stand there. And some people do love pregnancy and they love the bodies, but it wasn't particularly my thing. But I did find myself standing in front of the mirror and go,
well, maybe there's
you know
something
what?
simple there then that these ladies that are feeling really anxious about can probably.
Yeah, definitely. It's just like if you stand in front of the mirror and you say, I hate myself, I'm fat. If you stand there and say, I love what I'm looking like.
Yeah, I like the way I
look and I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
And you do that, you can, if you've got the affirmations around and about, if you say them out loud, say them
I
in
can
your
do
head.
anything is a really big one. When I
a lot of people do,
when I suffer not being very confident, I can do anything. It could be as simple as literally leaving the house to walk to the front gate and back.
Yeah.
That's a huge. Some people can't even manage to leave the house. But you can just constantly keep looking at yourself in that mirror and say, I can do anything. Do it for 2 months and don't believe yourself. But then 3 months, 4 months, 5 months will come along, and eventually you'll be surprised what these can do. It's subconscious, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's worth doing
trying it.
Try it.
It's only a few words to yourself
in
private.
You're not doing it in front of anybody. You're doing it totally by yourself. But you can get lots of little short,
Has
sharp
anybody
statements.
tried it? Any ladies that watch it?
Well,
I've got a good one here. This is Julie. She's saying, hi ladies, I lost my husband 12 years ago, and I'm only just coming through the depression and anxiety, putting lots of weight on because not going out. My daughters are brilliant. They encourage me to get out, and she loves looking at all the ladies on Tillits, and the VIP is helping a lot. Thank you.
Brilliant. Well,
That's got a nice one.
Brilliant.
Hi ladies, this is from Angie. I'm 58 and I have a number of problems. I'm registered disabled now. Fibromyalgia, degenerative disc disease, which sometimes makes me paralysed from my waist down. Through all this chronic pain, I've lost my confidence, suffer anxiety and depression. I have to say my happy place is in clothes. Since I found Tillits and the VIP, this has really helped me. It's like I've got new friends even though I don't know them.
Yeah.
As far as posting pictures, I'm not confident at all. Very rare occasion I have, which is brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic.
And I do have my nails done when I'm okay, and so do, and the same with the hair.
Yeah.
Knowing there's other ladies like me, it helps me, and sometimes you feel like you're not the only one. Thanks Tillits and thanks VIPs.
Well, that's brilliant. And like I said, we never ever set out to do this thing. And when we set the group up, we set some very simple rules, and it was about not insulting anybody. If you haven't got anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Be kind and smile. Smile at somebody, speak in the street, that type of thing.
Often being kind makes you feel happy yourself.
It does.
Yeah.
When you're being nasty and not very nice, it only makes you feel nasty and not very nice.
I think that is what you put out there is what you get back.
I agree.
And if you are, in your group, people are being really kind to each other, they're supportive, they're complimentary to each other, and that could be something we could have elsewhere in life. It doesn't happen that often, though, does it? So to provide that for people is really good.
And to think that there's 8,500 women, and if you are watching on the main Facebook page or even in your group, and you're not into It's VIP, you don't have to buy offers. There's nothing going. Just get in there and have a look and get the support. Ask, search it, ask and join.
Sam is saying, can anyone join the VIP group?
Yeah,
just type into VIP on Facebook and it will come up.
There's a couple of questions to ask. We do a lot around the clothing and around the products because ladies are interested in that as well. But I think it's great the way it's turned out into a real support group, and some ladies have made friends through this and helped each other out.
And this is from Lynn. My daughter says at nearly 70, I'm back in leggings and long tops, colourful clothing. She took me out to get properly fitted bras, no more floppy bits. I have 3 comas from asthma, leaving me with memory problems, panic attacks, and sometimes just gets completely confused. This site's made me more confident as maybe more
Brilliant.
confident clothing wise, especially when you get so much feedback from the other girls. The good thing is you see an outfit on here and you copy. You know it's nice because everyone else is wearing similar.
Brilliant.
I think that really helps as well, that you've got other people who said this looks good together. You know, you don't have to worry about putting an outfit together, because I think that all in terms of body image, if you feel you haven't got it quite right.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, I think a big thing about that is putting outfits together sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
That's why a lot of what we do really revolve around a pair of skinny jeans or a pair of leggings, don't they?
Yeah.
Or our basic jogging pants. They're a really good one. And then you can put anything in. And we always say the little rule to use is plain pants, pattern top, or plain. Don't mix the two patterns.
No.
And then we keep it simple like that, don't we?
Add a scarf on a neck and dresses it up.
That type of thing. And it's about keeping it simple and going for a bit of colour. But if you're not confident enough to wear that vibrant pattern top, then put a nice bright scarf on or something like that.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think if you're wearing a bit of colour, you feel better. If you're completely wearing black all the time, I think that actually adds to how you're feeling, doesn't it? If you're actually feeling that you're giving off some positive stuff and you've got some nice colours on, I think that's really good.
Yeah, I think the other thing as well is the fact that I slightly lost my train of thought. What I was
She's done that
saying
memory
there.
foam.
It's not memory foam. It's gone. Because we're sat in the sauna.
It's getting hotter and hotter.
No, I think what it is, the other ladies can see other body shapes as well, because you know as well as I do with the fashion industry, it's not true to life, is it really?
No. Do you know, I've done a video with my daughter, she's 12 and a half, she's my middle kid as she calls herself, and she's really tall for her age, and she was talking about that, because I know I was similar to her when I was her age, and she was talking about going into shops, and because she's that age but she's actually in adult clothes, it's quite difficult for her, because she wants to wear the things that the teenage clothes kind of say, but actually she's bigger than that. And I think that does affect your confidence if you don't feel that what's out there, I don't know, for me when I was growing up I had the same pair of school shoes 3 times in a row because I've got huge feet. I was tall and no one catered for that, so it knocked my confidence because I couldn't represent myself as I wanted to, because I had to wear what was available. So I think now that there's lots of things and there's lots of possibilities for women, especially with what you're doing, it just gets rid of all of that. The one size thing gets rid of it, the barriers that are in place get rid of it.
And I think also the compliment thing, we came up with this 3 C's thing, the confidence, which I think is the first thing. If you can get a little bit of confidence, I'm not saying you're all out there, but if you can just gain a little bit back if you've lost it, more than you had, you're comfortable, at that age, if you're going to have a hot sweat or you're going to feel a bit stressed about something, if you're comfortable in what you're wearing, you don't feel like restricted and complimented. I think that's a massive compliment. If you're feeling rubbish about
nice
yourself,
to be nice, like we've just said about kinder.
But if you are feeling rubbish about yourself and you just push yourself out that comfort zone and put a different colour on and go out, get out, and somebody actually says to you, that looks nice, I like that, you look lovely in that, I like your top, and you've not had that for a while because you've got stuck in your ways, it makes a massive difference.
And like I say, hold on to that. Hold on to that.
It's that positive. It's that positive one that somebody said. So
and if you like that, you could maybe turn that into an affirmation. If somebody's giving you a compliment that you really like,
I look nice.
Take that. You look really nice today. So take that and tell yourself that every day. Or I love that colour you're wearing. And every time you stand in the mirror, no matter what colour it is, love that colour you're wearing. Just little things like that, and that's actually a really good way of twisting it round from somebody paying you a compliment because you've not made it and keeping hold of it and running with that.
I think also being grateful, because you've got a lot of grateful people in the group, and we talk a lot in therapy about gratitude and being able to actually recognise what you have got. We hear a lot about what we haven't got. This is wrong with me, or this isn't working for me, but actually what is working, or who have you got around you that you can be grateful for, and those kinds of things.
You always say when you have a bit of a moany groany day, when things aren't going well and things like that, I always say, do you know what, there's worse things going on out there than what's happening with us right now, or with me right now, or anybody. There's always somebody worse off than you. So I think it's good to be good to be grateful. So have we got anything else? This is really, I'm enjoying this. It's really good. It's not just sat with a chin. Need to open the door.
No, I'm really warm. I've got I think, let me make sure
I'll open it quickly, let me get fresh air in.
Yeah, I've got, mum comes back, I'll read it out. We're sweating here, guys.
Oh, that's better already.
There we go.
Sandra said she suffers with some depression as well. She used to go out mixing with people, but now don't want to go out, but I love buying your clothes to wear when I go to my children's house.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for something
So
like
you
that.
are actually going out.
Yes.
And if it is only to your children, you're still actually making that effort and going out, and that's great.
Definitely.
And Joanne is saying, I think having a compliment from the same sex is the greatest compliment of all, and VIP is wonderful for that, and that is so
Brilliant.
true.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
That
I've
is
looked at it
lovely,
like that
yeah.
before,
Yeah.
Definitely.
And Debbie says, I follow Mary Portis, another great retailer, and she is saying kindness is the best thing we can do, great minds.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that is good. Well, that's what I think anyway.
And
so
you have another couple, there's a couple of bits on that paper,
Yeah.
some ladies that
Yes.
sent things in
we did.
from earlier that were really nice.
We have Joanne Smith, and she wanted
She's
to.
just said that Joanne Smith is just when I've said the same sex compliment.
Oh
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
This one's interesting.
She said she just wanted to say she had low body image as she was in a. I hope I'm all right reading this out. I'm sure I am because
She put it in the group, she put it out in the group, yeah.
Was in an abusive relationship and was told that her legs were awful constantly. Through watching you and knowing that we are the same height, that's Joanne and myself, and close in age, I've not only started wearing dresses but regularly post on VIP. From this I've been asked a lot about my makeup and I've been told by lots of wonderful ladies how great my style is, and last night at least 4 people were trying to buy the top.
If you want
Keep
affirmation.
that up, Joanne! Keep that up!
Yeah, your makeup
Business
is nice.
woman Melanie just got in.
And that was a turnaround for her as her image of herself and of herself.
Yeah.
So she says, cheers, we've been a godsend.
Fantastic.
I'm on the VIP page and a lot of ladies are talking about exercise. Diane says, I'm 71 and love till it's close. I do chair yoga and it works wonders for anxiety and bad nerves, and lots of ladies saying, I find exercise is great, even just a little walk in the park.
Sometimes it's forcing yourself to do it as well, because I'm not great at exercise. I have been trying to walk a bit and do different ones, but I find it easy
Not to do it. I think there's something with that I think, and that is, you know, when you can talk yourself out of doing anything, can't you? Much more easily than you can talk yourself out of doing something. So a good thing to do with that is to just go and do it. Don't think about it. Don't analyse it, because your head will catch up with you.
Yeah.
If you once you're doing it, you'll think, oh, I'm really pleased I did this, and by the end of it, you think, I feel great.
Yeah.
And it feels easier not to do it, but actually then you might feel guilty because you haven't
Well, I was
done
going to
it.
say, you do because you think, well, I should have really done that.
Yeah.
Because what else did I do with that time?
Yeah,
Not a lot.
why didn't I do it?
I mean, I must admit, on one of my walks I was on a few weeks ago, I thought I'll do this 6 mile instead of 4. But by the time I was coming to the end of the circuit, 4 miles, it was easy to go that way and not do the other 2. And I thought, and I kept going thinking, but this 4-6 thing, all the way through the walk, I was thinking, am I going to do 6 or shall I give up at 4?
Yeah, it's your brain.
It's your brain telling you to give up at 4 and go home. And in the end, I went, for God's sake, just go a bit further and do the extra 2. And I did it.
Yeah.
And felt great when I'd done it, but I could so easily have just dipped out at 4, the same as you don't even start sometimes. I bet people resonate with that.
With yourself,
You do, it's practice.
Lynn says Thai cheese wonderful, and Elaine says my mum's 95 and in hospital at the moment, but hopefully coming home tomorrow. She's still smiling. The nurses have asked her what her secret is, and her answer is always by being kind.
Oh, lovely. Well, I hope she gets a full recovery and gets home very soon.
Yeah. But kindness does go a very long way.
Absolutely.
And even just chatting to these ladies and going over some situations people are in, that just people might feel the world are different just by
just having put it down in type and knowing that it's been discussed. That's even by talking about it on this type of thing might help a little bit, hopefully.
The other thing I was going to say was as well around things like, you know, talking about yoga and those types of exercises. You don't have to go to the gym and absolutely kill yourself to actually feel better from doing some exercise. The endorphins will come anyway. Going to walk, being outside and all that great stuff, being mindful when you're outside and enjoying it. But getting your breathing right is really important. If you're feeling anxious, or you're feeling low.
I've been practicing this too.
This is one of my affirmations.
I should be working with you.
Yes, you should, I'm going to steal her as I leave. You can't find her, I'm taking her.
Good to use with us ladies.
But I think what we're doing here, even laughing sometimes, if you can, as down as you feel, if you can have a bit of a laugh at
breathing is a massive one, isn't it?
It's huge because if you get your breathing right, a lot of us don't breathe properly. I know we breathe, but we don't breathe properly. So we tend to do shallow breathing. Whereas if you breathe into your diaphragm and you fill your whole body, your whole diaphragm up with air, what it does is it gets enough oxygen into your body, so your brain starts to kind of function a bit better. You can think more clearly, and your muscles will start to relax.
So is that about taking a really deep breath in?
Yeah. So you take a deep breath in, and I always do 7-11 breathing. So 7 is breathing in for 7, and then you breathe out for the
So
count
in
of
for
11.
7 seconds and then
out for
out
11.
slowly.
And if you
Oh.
can't manage
Try
7,
that.
11, as long as the out breath is longer than the in breath, it doesn't matter. There's no
I do
rules.
in for 4, out for 8.
There you go.
So in,
Okay.
2, 3, 4.
And you keep breathing in as you're doing it.
Yeah,
then.
and this
So
is-
you've got my
Chest
chest gone
yeah,
out
chest
already.
goes out, belly comes out. It's
Yeah.
not good luck.
No, yeah.
But it works.
Right, I might try that
Yeah.
then.
So if you're feeling anxious or you're about to go and do something you feel worried about,
do a few of that.
you can do that.
Is that
4
why?
or 5 breaths.
Is that why sometimes, without realising it, you take a deep breath before you do something when you're nervous? You know,
Yeah.
you might go and do something. Well, I was actually, it's funny because I was saying to you the other day,
Yeah.
wasn't I? I said, I need to go back to the gym. I haven't been to the gym for a while. And I said, but I'm just not. When I'm going, I'm fine. But the minute I stop, so I haven't been for a few weeks, I really don't like going. I drive there and I feel all nervous. But before I go in,
Yeah.
I'll always go. And once I'm in there, I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah.
It's no bother. But getting myself there sometimes is that
So
thing.
you take a deep
So is
breath.
that where the deep
Yeah.
breath
Yeah.
comes from to
Yeah.
make me go and make me almost feel better?
Yeah, well, you want to. The whole point of breathing properly is grounding yourself.
It is
Yes.
bring you back to the
Bring yourself back to where
situation.
you are now. I'm definitely taking it with me. Bring it back to where you are now. You know, and if you're outside the gym, you put both feet on the floor, breathe properly, do 4 or 5 breaths. Honestly, you'll feel so much better because you'll think your brain calms down. The jumpy bit that's coming in and out telling you not to go in.
Yes,
Yeah.
don't walk in.
Yeah, don't listen to that what if, because that gets in the way, and everything just calms down, and then you can go and do it. And
Yeah,
I do a lot of speaking events and things, and I do it all the
Yeah.
time.
yeah.
And you sometimes, if you get talking and you're in a situation where you're anxious or you're nervous, your mouth runs away with yourself, and before you know it, you're not breathing, you're not
Yeah.
taking.
Yeah.
So you need to consciously try and speak slower, try and take a few deep breaths. So although you think you're speaking slowly and you'll feel like you're taking, nobody even notices. And
Notices.
that's one thing I really find, that if I'm in a situation with people, I'm speaking, I'm talking, I'm starting to get nervous, about recognising that you're starting to feel nervous. Slow all your speaking down, slow all that down, and just try and slide some deep breaths in, and before you know it, your brain clears,
Yeah.
that panic stops, and breathing is such a big one. Elaine just says breathing makes all the difference. It really works for
Yeah, it does.
anxiety.
It really does, and I think
And
if
for
you,
pain and uncomfortableness, if you're thinking you're feeling pain, and not a very nice feeling or something, if you can just do that, was your 7 in for 7, out for 11, I do in for 4, out for 8. If you can do that 3 or 4 times over, you also take your focus on from what's uncomfortable,
Yeah.
if it's pain or something you're not feeling quite comfortable with, pain or in a
Something
situation.
else to focus on.
You're
I suppose.
focusing on the
Yeah.
counting and your breathing, so it's like a double effect. It's slowing everything down, but your brain's taken away from worrying about the situation
yeah, it
too.
is. And what happens is your brain. What happens when you're feeling anxious is you can't access all the areas of your brain because you're too busy wondering whether you're going to run away
Yeah.
or fight the situation. So your fight or flight response kicks in, and if you're feeling anxious all the time, you're living in that place a lot. So if you can breathe properly and not just do it, oh, I'm feeling anxious, I'm going to do it now. Practice it. So you're doing it beforehand. So
Do
when
it as
you
a matter of
yeah, so it's
routine
just
each
part
day.
of it's just
Yeah.
part of what you do. And so when you get into those situations, to be able to control that and feel you've got a mechanism that you can use to control how you're feeling, it's really powerful because you're not then overwrought by what's
Yeah.
happening. You've got a strategy.
Well, I think this is really interesting. I don't even know how long we've been going. I think we need to nearly wrap up.
Yeah,
now,
I've
don't
got
we?
a couple more things a couple nice little comments.
Okay.
Debbie says, best thing about today's VIP is all the real women. For real women, we are bombarded with unrealistic images on TV, etc., which is unachievable. I feel for the next generation, so saying
That's
a
definitely
really
a body
great
image
thing.
issue, and I
Yeah,
think
it
a lot for the younger.
Oh,
I've got an
younger,
Instagram
yeah.
account, and I don't, I mean, don't bother me now. I'm old in the tooth, and I've always been the way I am. So
Yeah.
older in the tooth, and I don't care if somebody put a nasty comment, just delete it
No,
for me.
yeah.
But that wouldn't play on my mind particularly. But I know it would a lot of people,
Oh, we have
and
a lot of
particularly the young ones.
Yeah, we have a lot of
You know, people that set themselves up with the filter, the perfect lifestyle, the perfect. It's not necessarily true.
It's not. It's very rarely true, I think. And
Yes.
it's a very high pedestal to fall from when things go wrong.
Yeah.
And so we set ourselves. You know, there's a lot of young people setting themselves up with very high expectations,
Yes.
and actually the reality is
The
very
reality is
different.
very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And then Janet said, I suffered a stroke in November and found it difficult to concentrate. I did a mindfulness course last year and I find remembering the breathing really helps.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Well, I think there's some really,
Yeah.
really
Okay,
good,
there's
interesting
some-
chat
there's
there.
some
Yeah.
great interaction
Let
with our
us know.
ladies, so
Yeah, I was
really
going to say,
appreciate
let
it.
us know
thank
if you've enjoyed it, ladies. Like I say, I have. I think it's been
Yeah.
great, and we ought to do some more topics maybe another time.
Yeah.
We'll do something else. Yeah. So.
And anything else in the meantime, please do pop in the
Yeah.
comments. I think the nice
Yeah.
thing is the ladies will start all interacting on these comments.
Chatting to each other, advising each other, that's what it's all about.
Any ideas people have got that they use, anything like that, just
Exactly,
sharing.
Anybody out there that's found something really useful in a certain
Drop
situation,
it in the comments.
It might just be, lots of ladies do read through a lot of these comments.
They do,
So they might find that it would help. But I think that's been great.
Thank
you.
you.
It was Alexis that asked us to do it, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you all soon,
We'll see you all soon, ladies.